From the minute the Red trailer dropped, I was hooked. Hearing that Monty Oum was going to be producing his own 3D anime had given me a spark inside that has helped fuel my desire to make my own goals come true. What people don't know is that I had given up on a dream I had. I have a story I wanted to tell, but I thought it would be impossible. Then, Monty Oum created RWBY, and showed the world that it doesn't matter where you're from. If you want to tell a story in a certain medium or style, do it. Don't let others dictate who can make anime and who can't, what stories can be told and which can't be. This inspired me to dedicate my life to reaching the goal of sharing this story. I'm still on that path today, working towards telling this story to the world. But sadly, Monty won't be here when I do. I won't be able to show him the creation that he inspired me to finish. And with his passing, his story was left in the hands of two people, Miles and Carrie. At first, I was hopeful. I had met Miles at PAX East, the same year I met Monty there for the first time. I was so excited, I got Monty to sign my portal gun I had bought from a booth there. When Miles saw my portal gun, he ran off and bought his own. Finding out he was working alongside Monty, and seeing how energetic and positive he was even when he was stuck manning the merch booth, I was positive the franchise would be in good hands. Then, Volume 3 dropped, and I had mixed feelings. Pierre's death didn't make any sense, and the overall negative tone of the season left me a little depressed, but then again, the best stories usually do. I grit my teeth, and after venting about it here on YouTube, I patiently waited for Volume 4. And Volume 4 was alright. I enjoyed the action we did get, but it definitely felt like an in-between season. It felt like RWBY, if a little drawn out. Then came Volume 5. Unlike other fans, I actually quite enjoyed the volume. I loved the interaction between characters like Blake and Sun and Yang and Raven, and even Ruby and Oscar. And the battle between Raven and Cinder was amazing. But there was one glaring problem. Adam had returned, and he was completely incompetent. The entire White Fang portion of the finale seemed absolutely weak. It's like they suddenly went from terrorists to incompetent children throwing a fit, and Blake knocking Adam down made zero sense. This is where my gripes begin. First, there's Adam. The ending of Volume 3 had put Adam on a level that Yang and Blake were not even close to. It really showed how much they had to learn and grow to beat him. But over the course of the 2 volumes, the only growth we saw was Blake's emotional growth with the help of Sun. Now, at the end of Volume 5, she somehow bests the man who amputated Yang's arm in one move? How does that make any sense? Moving on to Volume 6, Adam returns, and he's even more of a bumbling mess. Sure, he gets the best of them at first, but then the power of poorly written, virtue-signaling lesbians renders him into an incompetent fool. They kill him off, and any hope for an interesting antagonist is lost. This ridiculous power-scaling flaw has brought the series to a standstill. If the heroes always win, then where's the danger? The only character who has died with any real meaning did so in a tremendously stupid way. See my Pyrrha video for specifics on that. And now, even when there's no reason for these two to beat Adam, the power of plot armor has them succeed. It just doesn't make any sense. However, if my only gripe was Adam's horrendous mishandling, I wouldn't be abandoning the series one of my greatest inspirations had created. After all, it takes more than one bad character to ruin a franchise. Next, we have Bumblebee. I'm going to say this. There is nothing wrong with having gay characters in your show, but a character trait that is shoehorned in to appease a handful of fans is never a good idea. Monty himself said that Team RWBY was a sisterhood, and unless Remnant is actually in Georgia, then it doesn't make sense for sisters to start fucking. Strong platonic relationships build lasting memories and give the characters long and happy lives in the eyes of fans. Look at Frodo and Sam, Ripley and Hicks, Daniel and Jack. These duos live in the memories of the fandoms that follow them, not because the writers shipped them together to please the shippers, but because their incredible, strong bonds to each other in a platonic, non-sexual way made them admirable. There's room for subtle romance in fiction. What they did with Blake and Sun was great. It was subtle, It felt natural, and it didn't feel like it was being forced down our throats. But the constant Bumblebee bait we were fed this volume was horrendous. It felt weird and really, really forced. At no point before this had these two had this kind of touchy-feely relationship, but now all of a sudden they are all over each other even when in the middle of a fight. It makes no sense. Legend of Korra had the same problem. After Nickelodeon canceled the show and let the team quickly churn out a final fourth book, the writers decided, hey, those Korrasami shippers like this smut, right? Let's totally put these two together, and it became one of the many reasons the fourth book utterly failed. Of the four, it's the worst reviewed by far, and now I believe Miles and Carrie are making the same exact mistake. Still, even with how horrendous the ship baiting in Volume 6 was, it still wasn't enough to push me away. And then the final nail in the coffin was the situation with Vic Mignogna. I've been following Vic for years, and yeah, he's pretty touchy-feely, but he isn't a sexual predator, and doesn't deserve to lose his career over the questionable accusations. Rooster Teeth, though, was the first to cut him, and this hit me hard. If that wasn't the worst part, Miles Luna himself, as well as other voice actors at Rooster Teeth, had gone on Twitter to join the hate mob, smearing fans and trashing Vic. I can't respect a man who will show utter contempt for his fans like that. Great men don't do that. Great creators do not do that. Peter Jackson didn't Twitter shame people who criticized the Hobbit trilogy, or decisions he made with casting. George Lucas didn't publicly denounce the people that hated the prequels. Miles' behavior and the behavior of everyone involved in the Kick Vic movement from Rooster Teeth should be ashamed of themselves. They failed to be mature f***ing adults, and now Rooster Teeth is going to pay for it by hemorrhaging fans and first memberships. All that, combined with the confirmation in Volume 6 that Pyrrha won't be coming back to be redeemed from that horribly written death, has left me with very little choice. Monty created something beautiful with RWBY. Volumes 1 and 2, most of 3, were amazing works of art. You could feel the passion he had put into making the series, and you could tell he had great things planned for the show. It's a passion that great writers exert through their work, that the fan can feel when watching or reading their work. It's a passion that is no longer there. RWBY it isn't RWBY anymore. It's the Frankenstein husk that Miles and Carrie are dragging along, posing it as a decent show. I don't blame them, though. They were just assistant writers helping Monty. They didn't even watch that much anime. I remember Monty telling us how he had to give them anime homework for them to watch to better understand the medium. How can you expect two assistants who don't even fully understand the anime medium to produce this show that had such a great person behind it? Miles, you asked us to give you a chance, and we did. You swung, and you missed. Rooster Teeth has two choices. Hire new, competent writers to take over the show, or let Miles and Carrie drive it into the ground. So, I want to end this video saying this. Rest in peace, Monty. Though the legacy you left behind might flutter out, the memories and inspiration you gave us will live on through our works that you inspired. We will continue to create and explore and learn, and we'll be thinking of you every step of the way. And Vic, we stand with you. Anyways, that's why I'm done with RWBY. If you like my content, please feel free to subscribe. My name's Gio, and this is the Fail Train Network.